Hello, everyone.
Hello, it's Christine.
Nice to
Hello.
nice to meet you today. So, welcome back to IMDC Ambassadors Tuesday Talk. Every Tuesday, we open another window into the mind of the young people behind IMDC. And I deliberately say minds, not simply faces, because this series is not about the collecting biographies or asking every ambassador the same top questions. I want to understand how they think, how they make decisions, how they live behind IMDC titles, what they notice in the people, what they question, what kind of leaders they want to become. And today, for the first time in our Tuesday talk, I have two guests at the same table, two IMDC young ambassadors from Nigeria, Nadia Jamal Babagirei and Isah Ibrahim Egya. And I want to just mention that Ibrahim, he's a leader of the Nigerian team and the coach, and he comes with additional distinction from the IMDC Ambassador journey. He was recognized for his performance as the best Mediator-Diplomat. So today I have two minds, two challenge instead of one. Nadia, Ibrahim, welcome. How are you both?
Thank you very much for having us, Miss Christine. It is indeed a pleasure to be here with you from Nigeria. Thank you very much for this opportunity to share our own experiences at the IMDC and also our experiences as future diplomats and mediators. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ms. Christine. I feel very, very honored to be here, and I'm so excited for this interview. Thank you for having us.
So, what I want to see, the first question. Let me start a bit differently today. I don't want your CVs, and I don't want your titles, and I don't want to know that would want to listen that you tell me about what you study for the first answer, like as a first answer. The first question, who is Nadia? When all the titles disappear, and who is Ibrahim when all the titles disappear? You want to
Okay, I think I'll let Nadia go first.
Okay, Nadia, please.
All right, thank you so much. Okay, I feel like if I'm going to describe myself, I'm going to describe myself as someone who is generous, who is kind, who is passionate, and who is enthusiastic. I'm this type of person that wants to learn everything. It's interesting to know that I I want to learn almost everything. Aside school, aside academics, I'm interested in knitting. I want to know how to knit. I'm interested in farming. I'm interested in gardening. So aside the qualifications, aside the academics, I think I would just, if I'm to describe myself in a word, I would describe myself as someone that is enthusiastic and someone that is always willing to learn. I want to learn everything. I'm so passionate about a knowledge. So I think that's how I would describe Nadia as.
Okay, Ibrahim, your turn.
Yes, thank you very much. So, how I see myself or who Isah Ibrahim is someone who genuinely loves going against the conventional flow or the trend that most people are usually akin or habitual to follow. Yes, I say this because in almost every field or every path I have decided to take, it's usually born of a desire to be different. It's born of a desire to achieve something unlike that which others have previously achieved. So, right from my personal life with friends and family, my life with my academics, with my extracurricular activities in school, It has all been about making a difference, making an impact in an area that most people may consider impossible. So I would say I am a nonconformist. Yes, so that's how I would want people to see me, as someone who tries to achieve the unusual in his own way.
Oh, I just think for us and our audience and the friends, colleagues who are now watching our interview and the podcast, it's much more interesting than a CV. I think you admit it. So, do you think people who know you will give the same description of you?
Okay, so for me, I think yes, people who know me would really give that same description of me because it is a trait I've carried everywhere from my family or from home with my parents, my siblings. I am not the kind of person who does most things that my peers would do. For example, most males of my age will find football interesting. I don't find football interesting. I don't watch it. Not that I have anything against people who watch it, but that's just me. It's not what I find interesting. Similarly, you will find that in academics, specifically here in the faculty where we study, you will find out that people tend to prefer pursuing litigation as a preferred means of dispute resolution and possibly pursuing a career in that field. But personally, I have decided to do otherwise. So yes, I would say people who know me would say, yes, Ibrahim is different from most people.
Okay, that time I think if you can switch on your camera, we just see your face will be much better. Nadia, what about you?
Okay, so personally, I think yeah, people will see me as an enthusiastic person, as I said, because last week I was speaking about wanting to learn calligraphy, and my sister's reply was, "You always want to learn everything." So I feel like people see me as that enthusiastic person, as I said I am, because I showcase the interest. You know, everyone knows me as someone who wants to learn a lot of things, someone who wants to do this, someone who wants to do that. I just find joy in doing that. So yeah, I feel like people will really say that I'm really that person.
That's so nice. So we have two ambassadors and two minds today. You both carry the title IMDC Ambassadors, but I don't want I don't want this ceremonial answer about what the title means or whatever, how you feel it. Let me make it more difficult for you today. What should an IMDC ambassador actually do to deserve that title? Nadia?
Okay, I think an IMDC ambassador should showcase that knowledge, that willingness to settle dispute amicably, to engage with people, to keep conversations. For you to earn the IMDC ambassador title, you should be able to converse with people, to converse with people, to converse with different kind of people, to converse with, you know, not really people within your geographical location, but even people outside, international, you know, to interact internationally. So in order to be an IMDC ambassador, you should be able to have a lot of knowledge, a lot of, you know, traits, good traits that will show that yes, you are really capable of being that, that you're really that. People will see you as someone they look up to, someone that has a lot of not really, you know, aside academics qualifications, like someone that knows how to be. If I'm going to put it in a word, like someone that is hospitable, you know, someone that is kind, someone, you know, just like how you are with Christine, someone that is welcoming, someone that is warm. In order to be an MD ambassador, you should possess all these traits. So
Oh,
yes.
oh, sweet. So, Ibrahim, what about you?
Yes, sorry, my video was previously turned off. I didn't realize that it was turned off. So,
Thank you.
how I think an IMDC ambassador should be seen is that you should be someone who should understand the complexities that surround international dispute resolution. When I say complexities, the cultural dynamics, the political dynamics, the religious dynamics, and even the mere social dynamics that exist in the international space. And beyond recognizing these dynamics, you should appreciate or you should be tolerant enough to be able to work within these different features, this diversity, to achieve the aim of dispute resolution via, be it whether it's through mediation or diplomacy or whatever mechanism you are adopting. An IMDC ambassador should be ready to go in there, expect that yes, he will face adversities from cultural differences, from political differences, but should be able to work their way around it. And for someone who has had the experience of the IMDC, I think one fond memory I will always keep at heart is the experience we had when we had to participate in competitions with people from countries whose languages we couldn't speak, and we had to rely on translators. That gave me a different perspective of how the international world works, because it's not just a matter of understanding them now, but you have to be patient enough to see beyond the words of the translator, beyond the words of the interpreter, to understand where that person is coming from. So all of these differences, all of these dynamics that makes up the IMDC ambassador are what makes me cherish the role and really appreciate that I am one.
The great answer from both of you, just you nail it. So, tell me, what would you make you say this person may have the title, but is not behaving like an ambassador? I have experience. What about you? Because you witness it, as you mentioned it, that it is translator, but how do you know he translates or he tries to help a team? Or maybe he translate not correct. How do you think? Because translator is one of the important key person in diplomatic mediation negotiations. Am I correct? So exactly what he translates and he transfers is important. And tell me, this person may have the title, but is not behaving like an ambassador. What you will say about that? I know it's not easy, but just try.
Okay, when someone is an ambassador and is not behaving that way, I think it's when they're being rude. You know, as an ambassador, from the sessions we had with you earlier this year, as an ambassador, you're supposed to be welcoming, you're supposed to be accommodating. So when you're behaving rude, you're not really giving that, you know, ambassador vibe. You're supposed to be nice. You're supposed to talk calmly to people. You're supposed to you're supposed to keep you're supposed to be neutral, and you're supposed to keep this your societal views at home. When you're an ambassador, you're representing a country, so you're supposed to be kind and welcoming. And I feel like when you're being aggressive, unnecessarily aggressive, it stripes you of that role. You're not doing the role correctly. So I think that would be my answer.
Ibrahim, and after I will just get involved because I just wanted to answer. It's nice.
Right. So, personally, how I would see someone acting in a manner that is not in line with what is expected of an ambassador means is the person fails to understand the aim that his role seeks to achieve as an ambassador or as a diplomat. You are meant to be a bridge builder. You are meant to establish connections between nations, between different people. So if you are not ready to make the sacrifices expected of someone who is to create those bridges, to create that alliances, then it means you don't fully understand what is demanded or what is expected of you. And certainly the outcome you set out to achieve would not be achieved, or if at all you will achieve it, it will be difficult for you to achieve it fully. So yes, that's how I see it.
Yes, this is great. Why? The ambassador, who is ambassador shortly? Just he represents and he brings the voice of their country representative to the table. And he tries to keep neutral conversation, high-level conversation. At the same time, what he's doing, he tried to avoid consumptions, anything which can escalate anything. So the ambassador, a description of ambassador of Ibrahim and Nadia is, I would just say, I put both of them descriptions in one basket. Just unite them. This is what we call ambassador. Both of you are right, but both the definition together. So it's nice. And then other question came to my mind directly. Which is more dangerous for young leader? Because the ambassadors are leaders at the same time. What is more dangerous for a young leader, like a lack of confidence or too much confidence? How do you think, Nadia?
Okay, for me, I would say lack of too much confidence is better than lack of confidence. Because when you don't have confidence, imagine now you're walking into a room, maybe a conference room, and then you lack confidence. Already the people in there are feeling, no, you're not going to deliver. But when you have overconfidence, even if, I don't want to say even if you're saying rubbish, but then if you're very, very confident, people already, before you even speak, they will be like, oh, what you're going to say is going to make sense. They're going to deliver. But when you lack confidence, no, I wouldn't go with that. When you lack confidence, it's just a no. But when you have confidence, you say a lot of things, and then people will go along with you. But that lack of confidence, the moment you enter the room, it's just a no for everyone. And confidence, for me, confidence is not just speaking. It's the way you carry yourself, the way you walk, and then, the way you speak. So overconfidence, I would say overconfidence is better than lack of confidence. It's better you have overconfidence. It's better you have that, self-confidence, that you're going to deliver, you can do it, than to have lack of confidence.
Okay. So, Ibrahim, are you going to agree or you are going to challenge Nadia?
Well, I will actually agree with her position because I believe there are times where you need some degree of self-delusion that would communicate to the people who are listening to you that this person is saying something that needs to be appreciated. He is saying something that is worth listening to. So, of course, when your confidence is that high, you have a higher chance of persuading people. And this is not to say you should equate overconfidence with arrogance or you should be arrogant. But the idea is to ensure that as you communicate, as you move, you carry yourself with the aura, with the vibe, with the self-belief that other people will be able to equally ascribe to you and listen to what you have to say. So yes, I would agree with her.
Good. And here I just want to stop somehow and because focus on Ibrahim. Your IMDC journey gives me a reason to put you under a little more pressure today. You see how you were recognized for your performance as the best media diplomat, and congratulations again. But then you know what also creates expectation, as you understood, is kind of the weight of responsibility. So now I want to know what was happening inside your head. So behind just we, because it's informal conversation, it's interview, and we want to know who is Ibrahim. What you felt that time?
Okay. So yes, indeed, being the best mediator diplomat was indeed a thrilling experience, and it came with a lot of expectations that at some point in time made me question myself, because I knew I was going against some of the best from across the globe too. But considering the previous experience or the prior experience I've had at IMDC 2025 and moving to IMDC 2026, I feel like that experience gave me some sort of courage to trust in my abilities and to know that, yes, if I've been able to achieve this before, I can achieve it again. At IMDC 25, I wasn't the best mediator diplomat, but my team left with an award. So it gave me that confidence to go into IMDC 2026 with the belief that we can achieve it. And during the course of the preparation, yes, it was a lot, because I wasn't just preparing to compete. The idea behind every competition we walk into is to ensure we give it our very best, because we believe it is going to be part of what will make our future. So I tried my best to give it everything I had. And yes, the pressure was intense. I believe I could remember days when we had to meet with the team as early as 6 a.m. Nigerian time because of the time differences. There were days where we had to meet at night just to practice and prepare. So all of these things were sacrifices that most people would not be ready to make, but we had to compel ourselves to make these sacrifices. So indeed, the pressure was there, but thankfully it all paid off.
Ibrahim, I will just open the secret. In reality, it's more worse. You don't have any, you can just wait, just somebody can wake you up 12 o'clock a.m. or 1 to 3 in the morning. Nobody will ask, oh, Ibrahim, you have to sleep a bit. But where's the crisis? You have to wake up and do your job. This is how it's working. So this is why I try to make more realistic simulations to give you, put you under the pressure. It's not just challenge for nothing. So during the competition, was there a moment when you realized, oh, Ibrahim, stop. My strategy is not working. I need to change. I have to be more flexible. What did you notice that time?
Yes, there were actually multiple times during the competition that I felt like I needed to change my strategy within the competition, because IMDC is not about just trying to succeed alone. If you are a mediator diplomat, you usually have another mediator diplomat you were to work with. So the ability to work with someone who perhaps you don't even know, but you have to work with them towards achieving the same aim, is one of those things that as a good mediator, you have to take into consideration at the IMDC. So during the course of the competition, I was constantly on my toes to ensure that I don't leave my co-mediator behind and I don't hijack the session, because that would defeat the aim of having a co-mediator, as much as I also wanted to win. But that was one of the areas. And another area where
Yes. I think Nadia can just join us because
he's trying to join us.
yes. So what you witnessed at that time? I think you have been with Ibrahim. Yes, Ibrahim, you come back.
yes, so my apologies for that.
Yes,
A call
it's
came
okay.
in. So there were equally times when I had to ensure that both teams were working with me on the same page. Okay.
Yes.
So during those times, it was not easy, but we had to make it work.
Yes, I see. So, the one personal question, was it something, because it's something personal, not for the question, not like for diplomat, more like as a mediator, because was it something somebody said, but actually something they did not say? I witnessed it as a judge, but I want to see your answer.
Yes, so as a participant, it was quite interesting. And at some point, it was also giving me anxiety because I knew that every single step of the way, I was not only competing with the other mediator diplomat, but I had to work with them. And so every single step had to be perfect. It had to be at least close to perfect. So as you're moving with the other mediator diplomats, you're also trying to ensure that the entire mediation session goes as planned. No party is left behind. You're trying to ensure that, okay, the interests of the first party are well communicated to the other party. Their goals, their aspirations, their objectives are well documented and equally communicated in a neutral way. So all of those different nuances that the competition came with was quite eye-opening, and it made it all the more technical because you had to conjure thoughts or ideas on the spot to make everything work. So yes, the pressure was there. There was also the desire to ensure that it was a successful session. By and large, I think I enjoyed it. I certainly enjoyed it because it was unlike anything I have previously experienced.
Thank you, dear. And I think as a judge, I witnessed it a lot, but I think in the future, I make a lot of changes, and I think we need more certification before they will enter our participants and judges as well. And the more interesting it is, not about the lack of the barriers of the understanding of the language or translation, culture differences, but at the same time, when you are in a hybrid mode and you try to control in the semifinals, the hearings, and you want to say to them, you don't have to sit down that time, you have to go to the briefing. And I witnessed it like some of the mediators try to explain what it is. Nadia, I want to smoothly move to you with some questions, and Ibrahim has had enough attention for now. I have one more question, but I will just ask them at the end. I'm coming to you now. Suppose you enter a negotiation room and within first 5 minutes, you realize, Nadia, that everyone is listening politely, but nobody actually trusts one another. What will you do first?
Thank you very much, Ms. Kristen, for that question. I think the first thing I would do is to try to create that trust. How do I create that trust? I will first of all greet them warmly and then engage in conversation with them. I will try to make it like a uniform conversation whereby everyone talks. So the first thing I will do is to try to create that trust that is inexistent at that time. So how I will do it is I will talk to them. I will indulge in conversation with them, and then gradually they'll start to when this one is talking and then this one chip in, they will start to be more confident. They try to have trust in the rest of the people. When you talk and this person talk, you wouldn't know, but then gradually the trust is building. You're talking and then this person is talking and this one is talking. You are gradually building trust. So the first thing I would do is to build that trust. Already you said they are naive. So building that trust I feel like building that trust wouldn't be hard. So yeah, I think that's what I would do.
I think I have the one following another question. So would you address this mistrust directly, or will you work around it first, and why?
Okay, let me take that question.
I think
Addressing this.
no, Ibrahim, I will come back to you later because now I want to more concentrate on Nadia's answers.
All right.
Just
All right.
50-50. I will come back to you. Yes, Nadia, please.
Okay, I think how I will handle mistrust is building, I don't know how to explain but I think building the trust. When someone doesn't trust another person, I think it's because there's an underlying issue. They don't trust the person because maybe probably some time ago there was an issue of trust, and then I feel building that trust is as if I'm addressing that as a mediator or as an ambassador, is to is to be able to identify that issue, those issues that were underlining. So I think after identifying the issues, I will now try to solve them, and then gradually we build the trust.
Okay, something trick question. So have you ever changed your opinion about someone? Let's say I know you you have just you between two teams with different languages and traditions and so on. Have you just your opinion about someone changed actually after listening to them? And what made you recognize your first impression?
Yeah, I think yes. First of all, there were times that maybe you portray someone as you see someone as someone that is rude because maybe you just see them around and then you feel they are rude because they're not really welcoming, they're not warm, they frown their face while working. And then gradually, when you get to know them, you realize that they're not really that. They're really warm, they're really welcoming. It's just that their facial expression is not welcoming. So yes, I've had instances where I changed my distant perspective towards people because initially I thought they were someone they were not really.
So that's important for Mediator-Diplomat because for impressions can be useful, but they can also become a trap. Why we need red rooms for that? To come back, or just breaks to come back, or see them from the different angle, or ask the questions, so provoking questions. Am I correct? So that's why let's move to I will just ask you about the question agree, disagree between you, both of you. But before that, I would just ask one question, Ibrahim. I will come back because he had some technical issue. Ibrahim, what is harder for you personally? Speaking at the right moment or remaining silent at the right moment?
I would say remaining silent at the right moment is more hard for me. Yes, because silence can be a weapon at certain times. It is not at all times that you need to speak. Sometimes you need to allow people to dwell in their thoughts so that they can either see why they are wrong or perhaps see or say something you've been expecting them to see. So oftentimes I find it difficult because silence at times can be awkward. You may want to say something to fill that silence, but that's the difficulty for me. So I have been trying to improve on that to see how I can remain silent where necessary and also to speak only when it's absolutely necessary. So yes, remaining silent is more difficult for me.
You are a very good listener as a student. As I call it in a coaching session, that is a chess game. Silence is at a negotiation tables is a more strategic tool ever the Mediator-Diplomat can use. And we just split the questions. Now I want to go to give you both the same statement, but I want to see if you agree, disagree. You don't have to agree with each other, of course, and actually it's good if you have the same mindset. However, the question is, a good mediator must always remain neutral, agree or disagree. Nadia?
Agree. Because over time, during the course of my, research on mediation and the experiences I've gathered on mediation, I've always known that as a mediator, you're supposed to be neutral. As a mediator, you're not supposed to show, biases. You're supposed to remain neutral. That's why you're a third party to listen effectively and become and eventually settle the dispute. So I think as a mediator, I would say that you're supposed to be neutral. Yes.
Ibrahim, agree, disagree?
I have a different view on that. So
Okay.
my view is that there may be times where you, as a mediator, will have to strategically disagree with the parties. And I believe that is where the private caucus or the caucus or the red rooms comes to play, specifically the caucus sessions. There may be things that a party would have said during the course of the joint session that may not be entirely right or entirely appropriate or will become a problem towards the resolution of the dispute. So rather than challenging them there on the spot or trying to change their minds on the spot, during the caucus session, you can strategically present a better option to them, or you can strategically give them an insight as to why the position they've taken should be reassessed. Because, of course, we are all humans. We cannot always be right. So it may be that the parties are genuinely just misinterpreting things or misguided about things. So as a mediator, being a facilitator of the resolution of that dispute, I think may require you at certain instances to go beyond just agreeing to either what the parties have said to giving them a better option which they will consider. And I believe if the parties are indeed open-minded, if they find what you have provided to be a much more feasible option towards the resolution of their dispute, they would even appreciate you for bringing that to their notice. So I would say there are strategic times where you may have to disagree as a mediator. Of course, not in public, but during the caucus session, so that you don't appear to be partial or biased.
Okay, Nadia, Ibrahim, I have a scoring tab here. I'm joking. So the question is, second question, can you be neutral, just as following, but after your answer, can you be neutral towards the parties, but not neutral toward injustice, Ibrahim?
And that's a difficult question.
It's a very interesting question.
Indeed, indeed. So to be neutral to the parties, but to not be neutral to justice, I think, yes, that is possible. That is indeed possible because there may be times where the mediator may have some inclination, although we do advise that that is something that should be done away with. The party or the mediator may have some inclination towards one other party, and in one way or the other, they may be compelled to use their role as a mediator to maybe advance the position of that party. And it may not really be because they have just some bias towards one party, but they genuinely feel that the approach they've taken will not be the best approach for the future or will not be the best approach to take in resolving a dispute. So yes, I think there may be times where you have to be biased towards the attainment of justice, towards the attainment of a mutually and sustainable solution. Because I think sustainability of the solution that the parties will agree at is much more important. It would effectively defeat the purpose of mediation if the solution is reached today and by tomorrow the parties are kicking against it simply because they now have a better insight as to why that solution will not be feasible in the long term. So I think, yes, there may be times where you'll be biased to the parties, but you can equally not be biased to justice?
It's not easy answer on this question
Indeed,
because
it's
it's
not.
tricky. It's
Indeed.
a tricky and intellectual one because I just decided to ask you more high intellectual questions. Why? Because you are ready, as I see, for that. Nadia, which is more important in diplomacy? How do you think? Being trusted or being liked? Not like it,
Okay.
like in Instagram, just pointedly like it, having 1,000 likes or 2,000, and the people know, oh, if I have 10,000 likes, so I'm very good. No, it's not in this level. So, how do you think? It's interesting to listen your answer.
Okay, that's really a good question. I think in diplomacy, being being trusted will be like I think being trusted is better. I would go with that because in diplomacy, your diplomacy is you're standing for a country. You're there to talk in favor of the country. So I think in order for the other country, let's assume you're trying to maybe reach a consensus. In order for the other party to believe what you're saying, to agree with what they're saying, they have to trust you first. You have to trust that if we sign this agreement, are you going to fulfill your own part of the bargain? So you have to create that trust in order to be, I feel like in order to be successful in that, you have to create that trust. So I think in diplomacy, trust is better than even though I feel like they all have their advantage, but then I'll go with trust first. Being trusted is best. Being trusted is better. Yes.
How do you think, can a good diplomat sometimes afford to be disliked?
Oh,
Hard questions. Now we will follow much harder. So be ready to answer.
yeah. No, really, a good diplomat cannot even afford to be disliked. But then being trusted doesn't mean you're disliked. You gave me an option to choose better between whether being trusted or being liked is better. But then in this instance, being trusted doesn't you can be trusted and be liked at the same time. But then I think I really you cannot afford to be disliked, but then you can also not afford to be mistrusted. So you have to be wise. You have to be very, very wise as a diplomat. You have to create both. You don't really you need them to like you, but then that's not really it's important, but I feel like being trusted is better. So while being trusted, you also have to be accommodating. You also have to, show that yeah, you're someone that they can like. You're someone you have to create that like vibe. So I think both are equally important. But if I'm to choose, I would say being trusted is better.
Okay, so you will challenge Ibrahim?
Funny enough, this question reminds me of the quote I learned from, I think it's Niccolo Machiavelli.
Yeah.
He said, to be respected or to be loved, when you are faced with such an
Correct.
option, you should choose to be respected. So it's, for me, it's quite similar to this question, to be trusted or to be liked. Yes, you may be liked by people, but if they do not trust you, I feel like the entire aim of diplomacy may be defeated because everything we do is built on trust, mutual trust. I believe there's even this principle of good faith in alternative dispute resolution, and good faith stems from the fact that you will adhere to what you've agreed to, and you will equally keep to the words you've given to the other party. So if you are trusted but not liked, I think so long as the aim of mediation and diplomacy is achieved, then you have nothing to worry about. It's rather to be, it's better off that you are trusted and not liked than to be liked but not trusted.
Okay, that's Another question came to my mind, much harder. Would you rather negotiate with a very intelligent opponent you cannot trust, listen carefully, or an honest opponent who is strategically weak? Nadia? Tricky question.
As um,
Okay.
an opponent that you cannot trust, intelligent opponent that you can.
So
I think
just what came to my mind, because you have to think, use both and the logic, and at the same time what? Just think. You prefer to negotiate with really very intelligent opponent, but you can't trust this person. And the second is so weak, but honest.
I think I will go with the second one. Why? Because as Brother Ibrahim stated earlier,
Okay.
trust is really important in diplomacy. So it's better I negotiate with a weak opponent that I can trust. The other one, on the other hand, is very intelligent, but I cannot trust them. Then what's the essence of negotiating when at the end of it, we might not really get what we want? So I think it's better to negotiate with a weak opponent that I can trust, because at the end of the day, I know I'm getting what I want. That person is not going back on their words. So it's more like I feel more confident in him, because I know no matter what, that person is really honest and that person is not going back on their words. So I think I will choose the second option, which is to negotiate with a weak opponent that is honest.
Okay, but Ibrahim, I will make you to think much harder. Imagine there no, okay, the Nadia answered only on question, but let's be just imagine there is two person intelligent, because sometimes you are witnessing this. In reality, you can't find someone who is weak and honest at the same table. Sometimes there is too intelligent, but you can't trust. Imagine you find out yourself at the table where are two global leaders, high intelligent, but 1,000%, not even 100, you can trust them. You can't. What you will say about this story?
And that would actually be a very, very difficult situation because
Okay.
you recognize that these persons are of high intellect. So some diplomatic techniques, some techniques you may know as a mediator that will help you in getting them to agree may not even work for these people. So I think that's the first problem, because there are strategies we use, body language, cues, choice of words. These are all things we employ in convincing people. So when they are high intelligence, number one, makes it a bit more difficult to be susceptible to these techniques you may want to use to convince them. And secondly, people who are highly intelligent and not trustworthy, they may be manipulative. They may be manipulative, not always, but sometimes. So they may give you the impression that they probably have agreed with you, or they understand, or they are on the same page as you, and will lead you to agreeing on a position when in reality they have a different intention in mind. So that's another difficulty that arises when you are faced with two highly intelligent but untrustworthy people. And if I'm in such a situation, I think the only way out is to equally be as highly intelligent. Well, I don't know if one can increase their intelligence on demand, but there's this saying that you don't play fair in an unfair game. So for me, that would mean, since I have recognized that these persons are of high intellect, these are persons who I equally cannot trust, I have to also ensure that every single decision, every single statement, every single concession, every single agreement is as strategic as possible so that I don't lead myself to a point where they would have me with the ropes. So I think that would be the approach I would take in such a difficult situation. I really hope I don't put myself in such a situation because it would really be
Actually, you'll be lucky one, believe me or not. When the people are facing and they are challenging difficulties, look at me. If you will start, because I'm already start to write my book about my life and as a professional. Oh, so you will read and you will understand. These difficulties, they're shaping something inside of us. Character. So actually you can use this. Imagine table, you, two leaders, intelligent people. What kind of trick you can use against them? Their ego. Because with a high intelligence, some people are so show off that because they think they are everything. They know everything. Unfortunately, actually, we don't know. We can't. It's impossible to know everything in this planet. But however, they have this impression, then having inside of them. So how can you use? It's like in a chess. Remember, I show it to you. Sometimes you have to step back and let them argue with each other. Because imagine two intelligent people, and even them, they didn't trust themselves. Imagine if you can trust them, but it's impossible. Every person have their weaknesses. So that time, as I teach you all the time, you are stepping back, you're trying to ask correct question and let them talk. You are moving to silence. And that time, you are leading the conversation. Doesn't matter how intelligent people are coming to your table. You always can use it on your benefits. The following question that is coming to you now, what IMDC actually teaches. And I just already start to say about that. This is exactly why I created this conversation and this about it's not a manipulation. What I'm teaching you is not a manipulation because exactly the weak people trying to manipulate and the people who don't have something in their pocket. So competition results tell us who perform it well, because for me, scoring is nothing. Believe me or not, because I see the quality without look at the scores. And they don't necessarily tell us what's happening to a person afterwards. And the question is, what did IMDC reveal about yourself, Nadia, Ibrahim, that you didn't know before the competition? Because I believe that you are attending a lot of the competition. What exactly IMDC?
I go first.
Yes.
Okay, I think one thing IMDC revealed that I didn't know about myself was the ability to think on my feet. I love that. It was overwhelming, but honestly, I love the experience I had. IMDC a competition, you get the fact, some hours, some minutes to the competition, and then you have to sit and read and assimilate. So I think what IMDC revealed that I didn't know I had was the ability to assimilate, the ability to read and understand at the moment. Because I'm this type of person that has to read over and over to understand and get it. But then I had to read and understand on my feet. I think that's something that I learned and I really appreciate. I'm so happy that I experienced that. I'm so happy that at least now if I see something, I wouldn't panic. I know that I can calm myself down, read and understand, and then deliver. So I think that was what IMDC revealed that I didn't know I had. I didn't know that I had the ability to do that. Yes.
Oh, Ibrahim, what did you discover about yourself?
So yes, so IMDC gave me an opportunity to work better with people, despite the fact that I am in competition with them. And it's a kind of a contradictory situation, but I am standing in the role of a mediator with another mediator. So despite the fact that I am in competition with that mediator, I still have to carry that person along. And it made me understand that the fact that you are on different sides with someone does not mean you cannot work together. Previously, I used to have this belief that once I am against you, I must try all I can to supersede or to suppress you by any means necessary. But IMDC gave me that understanding that no, it doesn't work that way. Because you are on different sides does not automatically mean you cannot work together. In fact, there may be situations that would demand that you must work together to achieve the aim that you both hope to achieve. So I really, really love that for myself because IMDC was a avenue I had to appreciate that in full. We had opportunities to compete or participate in sessions with people that are from different clients, people from different nations, people from different ethnicities. So all of that made it even much more interesting because now I can see that I can work with these people despite our differences to still achieve the set aim that we both have.
And now that you are both ambassadors, what is one idea you will genuinely like to bring into the IMDC next edition, IMDC community itself? Not because I am me as a president and founder of IMPE and IMDC, I'm asking you to do, but because you as ambassador believe it should exist.
Okay. I think an idea I'll be bringing next with the IMDC, which I hope every other person would equally take on, is the feeling, or should I say, the belief that we are all the same. We are all equals. Nobody is much more important or better than anybody. Despite the fact that you may be coming from a third world country or a second world country or a first world country, our humanity binds us together as one. We may be different in skin color, we may be different in skin tone, we may be different in our language, but beyond all that, we are all humans. And if we appreciate that, it's going to help us even beyond the IMDC, but even to global dispute, because the question of I am better than you or I am more deserving of this than you no longer becomes the foremost thought in our minds. The foremost thought in our minds becomes how can we collectively work together to make this a success? So I think that's what I'll be taking to the IMDC next year because we really, really need to do that. We need to see ourselves as one, pursuing a unified goal, pursuing a unified aim. So yes, that's what I'll be bringing next to the IMDC.
So I think we already witnessed it in Armenia. And
yes, indeed.
despite every language's barriers, even not understanding sometimes, you listen so carefully because I witnessed it when you have been with the Iraqi team. And they say answering to the yes, yes, because sometimes the language of understanding of the even the accent and they say try to find in the translator explanation and you say no and you change your mind, but yet you respected time when the translator using this and to deliberate everything and expectation. And this, what I witnessed it, I'm so proud because that time doesn't matter from which corner you came, it's Iraq or Nigeria or Armenia or Georgia or Russia or the Ukraine or America or other countries of Europe and around the globe. You in IMDC, this is a core point. We have to respect and be equal. I am this what I want to see, and I truly believe that we are the same in the same shoe. Nadia, what you want to bring, maybe some creative ideas to IMDC community?
Okay, I think what I want to bring to IMDC 2027 is the ability to settle the dispute aside aside what's inside our confidential information, aside what we're supposed to. What I want to bring to IMDC 2027 is the ability to settle dispute in a creative way. The ability to aside our differences, the ability to reach a consensus that is beneficial to both parties. I think in mediation, you're there to represent your country, or in diplomacy rather, you're there to represent your country. You're there to defend someone. But I feel like what I want people to know is, don't just represent your country. Look, think of the other state, think of the other side. If I'm getting this, what are they getting? The ability to be to not be selfish. Don't just think for yourself. The ability to think, oh, if I'm getting this, I need this state has to get this. Let's not be selfish. Let me not get everything to myself. I think that's what I want to bring to MD 27. Aside the competition and everything, I want all of us, I want the participants to know that being selfless rather, sometimes is the best I think thing you can have. When you're selfless, the other party will be like, oh, this person considered me, this person is being generous, so maybe we can also, if they have been adamant in one stand, they can maybe try to shift their stand and be like, oh, they want this, so maybe since they they consider us, maybe you can also do this. I feel like being selfless is what I want to bring to IMDC 27.
I think it looks like a peacemaker's manifest rather than some creative ideas for IMDC community. I thought you will just say, oh, maybe we will bring some hats or uniform, like for future participants who have like special uniforms or something else. Maybe we will dance or sing. So in this field, I was just waiting some answer, but this manifest is really brilliant. Thank you, my dear. And now a bit quick fire, but not boring. I want to, you have been very diplomatic and so far. So let's make this faster. No long explanation. I will ask question, but you have to answer in 1 second. What first coming to your mind, okay? You're ready for challenge?
Yes.
I'm asking one by one. Nadia, logic or intuition?
Logic.
Ibrahim, logic or intuition?
I'll go with logic.
Okay. Speak first or observe first? Faster.
Observe first.
Compromise or principle?
Oh, compromise.
Oh, good principle.
Oh, principle, okay. A brilliant speaker or brilliant listener?
Brilliant speaker.
Brilliant listener.
Okay. Forgive or remember?
Forgive.
Remember.
Oh, you see, I will have some answers on that. I just, second chance or enough?
A second chance. I would always go for second.
I think although it's close, I don't know. Sometimes it's not.
This is a women's mindset because they're always trying to investigate deeper. You don't have. Use the main brain. Direct what is first coming to your mind. Second chance or once and enough. Nadia.
Second chance.
Okay. Power or influence?
Influence.
Influence.
Okay. Peace at any price, yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. One quality you will never tolerate in the diplomat.
Disrespect.
Arrogance.
Faster. Okay.
Arrogance.
One word you okay. One word your fellow IMDC participant would use to describe you. Direct, 1 second.
Hospitable.
Yes.
But I had multiple words coming to mind, but I think listening would be the one. Listening.
Okay. Okay, now I just pay attention about the question, second chance or aren't enough. And you remember one of you, it took more longer to answer on this question. But this question was tricky. Why? I will let you know after my analytical challenge proverb. Are you ready?
Yes, we are.
Listen to me carefully. My favorite part, we came to just exactly my favorite part. You know that I don't like ending conversations and talk with an ordinary final questions. And this is about the mediation diplomacy. Mediator-Diplomat must be able not only to speak beautifully, but to analyze behavior, incentive, it just to be more to see the consequences, assumptions. So Nadia and Ibrahim, I'm going to give you exactly the same story. There is no textbook answer. It's something new. I want to hear how your mind is work. And this question about the second chance, it will appear. It's parable about two kings and the bridge. Two neighboring kingdoms have been enemies for many, many years. Between them stood a bridge, the only safe crossing over a dangerous river. One day, the bridge was badly damaged, accidentally or not. We have to investigate. So the first king said, "Let us repair it together. We are neighbors. Half of the cost will be mine and half is yours." The second king refused. "Why should I help you? If the bridge disappears, your merchant cannot enter my kingdom. That makes me safer, and I think there is a sense." So the first king repaired the bridge alone. The months later, a terrible flood struck the second kingdom. His people desperately needed the food and the medicine, and only this bridge appeared. There was only one route through which help could reach them. The bridge repaired by his enemy. So the first king's advisors told him, "Close the bridge faster because you repaired it alone." Now listen carefully. He refused to listen advisors because he refused to help us when he had the chance. Now let him face the consequences. But the king had to decide. Now questions are coming. What should the first king do? Ibrahim, Nadia?
Okay. So for that first question, I would say the king's choice of allowing them to go ahead with the usage of the bridge is why I would say give people second chances, because perhaps previously he was feeling that he had no need for it, but now he has seen that he is in desperate need of it. So giving them that second chance will help them to see that you've always been someone who had the best intentions at heart. They won't see you as someone who maybe were just trying to use the situation to your advantage. And I'm someone who believes in not punishing other people for the mistakes of others. Yes, the king's decision was wrong, but his subjects may have objected to that position the king took. So allowing them to suffer for the actions of their king when I could help, I don't think that is something I would be ready to do. But that does not mean I would forget what the king did, because I would always remember that, because there are people who, despite the fact that you repeatedly offer them help, they will still feel that they are entitled to it, or they are not even supposed to show some sort of appreciation later.
You are muted. How do you think, Nadia? He will continue, please, your answer.
Okay. Okay, initially my response was I was not going to give second chances. But I think with this scenario, if I'm the other king, the first king that repaired the bridge, I would give them a second chance. Why? Because my reason is not because of the king. My reason is because humans are involved. So if I don't give them access to this bridge, people are going to die. A lot of thousands of lives are going to be lost. So I think I'm going to give second chance in this scenario. But
Because the problem is this, I asked, but I didn't finish. And you don't know full story at the end. You have assumptions, what first coming to your mind. This is a trick on any parable. So let me continue. Let's say if he opens the bridge, Ibrahim, is that compassion or strategic intelligence? If he closes it, is that justice or revenge? And the third, does the second king's previous behavior matter when innocent people are now the unsuffering?
Okay, so to the first question, if he grants them access to that bridge, I think that would be strategic intelligence, not just compassion. And
Okay.
as a king, every single decision you make should be towards a set goal, should be towards achieving something. So I think that would be why I would say it is strategic intelligence. And then if he chooses to close that bridge, in that instance, I wouldn't say it is justice. I would say it is just, I wouldn't say it is justice because, yes, we have to ensure that as much as we want to show people how wrong they are, we have to also consider the fact that they are our neighbors. So we have to give them some sort of, we have to just help them when situations demand. And for the third question, I don't know if Nadia would like to answer that question. Could you kindly repeat the question? I didn't really remember the exact word.
The third question, it was, does the second king's behavior, the previous behavior, the matter when the innocent people are now the suffering?
sorry. Okay, Miss B, my network kind of went off, so I have to use Ibrahim's phone. So I think for the last question, the other king, I think the other king's behavior doesn't matter when people's lives are involved. He's supposed to, we all know that they are enemies, but then when people's lives are involved, he's supposed to keep that grudge aside and then help people first, let them survive, because this small gesture might lead to thousands of lives. So I think it's better for him to keep the grudge aside, help them first, and then they can continue with their whatever they're doing later. So I think I'll go with I think my answer will be, my response will be to help the people first.
Okay, in this case, I will ask you both. So as a mediator diplomat, are you trying to solve today's emergency or you are trying to solve tomorrow's relationship?
Okay. as a mediator diplomat, I think we're trying to solve tomorrow's problems today, because all outcomes that we reach at the mediation table will be implemented in the future as time goes on. So the aim is to ensure that future disputes are foreseen and preemptively solved, rather than just solving that today and leaving it there. So if you solve a dispute today and tomorrow another springs up, I don't think you can say you've effectively addressed the situation, because everything we do is towards the betterment of the future. So yes, I would say we are much more aligned with solving the future's problems.
And to add to that,
Yes.
with this scenario, we solved today's issue, and then we are for the other king. When maybe next we're in maybe another dispute or anything, he will probably remember what we did to him. So it's like we are solving today's issue while keeping our future relationship with them, because the other king, the first king, will never forget this gesture the other king did to him. They were enemies, and then they're in their need of help, and then he, despite the fact that they're enemies, he still helped them. So I think in the future it will even shape their relationship. So I think, yeah, that's the best thing to take.
Okay. Some twists. Final twist. Imagine you don't know the confidential, what I'm giving in IMDC, if you remember some confidential information, but imagine one final detail you are missing. Imagine that the first king knows that if he opens the breach, his enemy may become stronger again and threaten him 5 years later. Does your answer change?
Yes.
Oh,
My answer would change.
you see, this what I wanted to listen.
My answer would change because a
Oh.
king's obligation is first and foremost to his people. So he has to ensure he protects their interests today and in the future.
Well, for me, I think my answer will not change. Even though I agree with what he said, king's obligation is to.
Yeah, you see, and now my answer, because you stopped to answer on these questions, remember, second chance, or is once and enough? Remember? And you just avoided to answer, Nadia. Why? You try to analyze why, maybe something behind, maybe I will give maybe one chance. Why is women? Because the women and men are thinking constantly different. The men are thinking strategically, but you see how changed the strategy of Ibrahim when some details came on the table.
Indeed.
But the women, they sense differently, the sense behind of the question, Ibrahim. Doesn't matter. You know what the thought came? You know how I guess it? Imagine, I guess I'm really reading your mind, Nadia. You were thinking about the children, women's people. You're not thinking about how to win. Indeed. Despite everything. And in 5 or 10 years, maybe the tree will grow up, maybe not. So this is maybe. So my point it is, when you ask faster, your brain works differently, but the female brain is working constantly different. I'm not telling that you are just more smart, or it's not about the smart or stupid or something. We are not weighting averages or the percentage of the smartest, the position in this, but the issue, that main topic was the people and relationship, because kings are coming, my dearest, and going. One is coming, another going, and the nature stays. People is as well, they are changing, but the countries are staying, and even though maybe borders are changing, but that's it. But position, long terms, because the kings can't live entirely. They are dying, fortunately. because some dictators, they do think that they will stay forever, but there are days coming as
They don't
well.
get
So this is life. But your question, it was to save lives. This is important because it's not the people's problem. It's the problem of the top of the head of the government, or maybe only one person, doesn't matter. But the bridge have to be between two neighborhood countries, because the people have to be friendly, they have to trade, they have to negotiate, they have to bring the families and make families with each other. And this is what we are teaching in IMDC. You have to think and see behind of everything. It's not only about one person. One diplomat can't do anything, but united team of diplomats can bring a peace. It's the same.
I agree.
So the parable came to the end, and I will just ask another, he just finished with nice statement that is why mediation diplomacy is really about the choosing between good or bad. It's very often it's about choosing between competing consequences. Nadia and dear Ibrahim, I am so happy to see you now sitting together. This is what we close United Team IMDC Ambassadors. Today, I didn't simply want, I want our audience to know who you are, who is Ibrahim, who is Nadia. I wanted them to see a little of how you think. And I think that's much more interesting rather than to just only represent your city. And IMDC ambassador is not simply someone who carries a title, who wants young people who question, analyze, listen, disagree, or agree, and to speak intelligently, still know their within suit and how they remain the same table, though Ibrahim, congratulations once again, as a coach, as a team leader, it's a best Mediator-Diplomat, and your recognition. And Nadia, thank you for bringing your feminine intelligence on the table and our conversation and your perspective, your voice, today's conversation. You see, together, you really build the bridge and decided to unite two kingdoms. And to everyone watching us today, don't simply ask whether you agree with Nadia or Ibrahim. Ask yourself what you would have done with that bridge. This was IMDC Ambassadors Tuesday Talk. Another Tuesday, another conversation, and another opportunity to discover the mindset behind the next generation of mediators, diplomats, and I will say, see you next Tuesday.
Thank you very much, Ms. Christine.
Thank you so much.
Enjoy your evening. Bye.
And you as well. Thank you very much.